Maybe when he pulls off.
Welcome back, guys, to episode 5 of The Kin. I'm Connor.
I'm Garrett.
And yeah, we apologize for last week's missed upload. It was Garrett's 21st birthday, so he was out celebrating. And yeah, we're going to get back to our weekly consistent schedule and get content out to you guys.
There's a small chance that there's a live one. If we can get all the logistics set up, if we can get mics in a good place that has no echo, we might do a live one since Morty will be coming to Phoenix on Thursday.
Yeah, flying out to
Or
AZ.
day the Suns might win the NBA championship, so might want to actually move to Arizona after if they force a game 7 tonight. It's on right now. So if I'm ever looking to the left, I'm watching the NBA finals.
All right. You got it up on the other monitor?
Yeah, I do.
So this
All right,
week
so
we. Yeah,
one thing
go
Morty
ahead.
wanted to talk about was overbearing parents in sports.
Uh,
So
yeah, it is a very common topic to like just bring up, but it's not really focused on and like trying to prevent it. And partially because parents don't realize that they are being like overinvested. And it's weird that I say that, and it's different from like, cheering your kid on during a game or something like that, like saying, "Oh, like let's go, Garrett, like nice shot, bud," like whatever. It's having a like conversation with your kid and a negative connotation during a game, and also outside. And I'll get into that further into the podcast, but what it is mainly, it's just talking down to your child about a sport that they're trying to play and have fun with. And that makes them like expect, like, you're making them like try to be a perfectionist, I guess, because they're trying to constantly please you.
do you not think there could be some benefit to the right individual from that though?
There definitely can be. It just all depends on like how you take it like in a game. But
And what the parents actually saying.
yeah, like there's a difference between, I'll just say for an example, like uh when I was coaching baseball, there I had a kid pitching and he wasn't having the best outing in the world, but he walked off the mound and was walking back to the dugout, and next thing I know, like, I'm out there first. I'm the coach, so like I'm picking him up, getting him back on the dugout. Like, all right, you let 2 runs in, so what? We're still up by 1. And next thing I know, I hear the parent, "That's on you. That's your fault. That's all your fault." And I'm
Was their
like,
parent?
"Yeah." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like, my mom used to yell at me when I played, and like, love my mom to death, but whenever she yelled, it just pissed me the fuck off, to be completely honest. And she would yell like, "What are you doing out there? Like, pick it up. Come on." And like, that's different than like saying something's completely your fault, but it's
Yeah.
also that's
If you miss
boy.
a free throw and you just get
Yeah.
blasted for it.
Yeah, and like, there's no reason to do that to your kid. There's no reason to put him through that mental like stress, especially when he's out there trying his damn hardest. And it's a very controversial topic because parents just feel like they aren't overinvested when 99% of the time they are.
Yeah.
And just in my personal opinion, it's parents that need to just sit back, watch their kid play, let the coaches handle everything. And the most you should say, you should like clap, cheer them on, like, good job, way to go. That about that. That should be all it is. And then even past that, once you get out of the game, if the kids don't want to talk about the game, don't talk about it to them, because then if they had a bad game and you keep harping on them about something, that's just going to piss them off more, and it's going to make them feel worse than they already do.
Does did you ever have your parents yell at the refs? Because my dad got kicked out of basketball games for me and my sister for just yelling at the refs.
Yeah, definitely. But
Which I always felt like so my dad did some like criticism for me because my dad has a really big basketball IQ. So like I was a point guard, and there was
mm,
this one like summer league where I was playing I-9, where it was in between like AAU seasons, and I-9 like isn't the most competitive.
yeah,
Like if like I felt like LeBron in this league. Like I would do whatever I wanted. Like I was like the only person over six
it's
foot.
rec league.
Yeah, like it was just free licks. But there was this one story where my dad would like to tell me what to do as I brought the ball up because my dad always made sure he sat like at like the half court,
Yeah.
like front row, so he could always like talk to me while I was like bringing the ball up. And he was telling me like because I had this like weak defender on me to like do a crossover and then switch to my right hand and then drive it and just lay up. And I always did the opposite. I still do to this day. If my dad's watching this, he'd be mad. I always do the opposite of what my dad says. So my dad said to drive it. So I did. I didn't drive it. I took a dribble in. I did a step back and I hit a three.
Hmm.
And the ref heard my dad say that. And then the ref says to my dad that my dad's the last one today. He's like, I guess he didn't want to do that, Dad. And then just runs down the court. It was kind of funny. I was like 13.
See, like that's
but
kind of different because like when he does have the high IQ and he is trying to help you mid game, like kind of coaching you,
yeah,
that's different. But like if he's saying it's just all in the wording of it. Why didn't you cross? Like in
Yeah.
the like you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Like I don't know. I didn't see it. Like you're not the one playing the game. You might see things that I don't
Yeah.
see.
It moves slower when you're just spectating.
Exactly. And it's good that like he sat there and did that for you because like that saying that and the way he did, that's like an extra set of eyes, and you can.
That's why I always asked if it was ever positive for you. Because I always do. I do better with negative reinforcement than positive.
It was positive like coming from my coaches.
Okay.
So I try to like tune parents out as much as I can. So like
Did your parents play baseball or your mom play softball?
no,
No. Okay. So my dad played basketball, so like it was a little different.
my dad played baseball his freshman year of high school, and then my mom never played.
It never at like a high level. So.
No, and especially like college. Like if I'm hearing my mom say some shit like that when I'm pitching like my freshman year of college, I was like, really? Like,
I think the higher level you get, the lack of credibility your parents hold.
yeah, and
Unless they've played at that level, like unless your dad's like a professional.
it's like that gets into like parents trying to insert themselves into the player coach relationship, but that's a whole different topic and why the first thing college coaches always tell you is kids sit down, parents get out.
Yeah.
Like they want nothing to do with the parents. All they are there for you.
That's something I want to do for my kids. If my kids decide to play basketball, I won't like pick a sport for them, but is I'd like to be a basketball coach for them when they're like younger. Obviously not at a high level like high school or college, but like
Hmm.
elementary, middle school. Like I feel like it'd be pretty cool and a way to like stay in contact with your kids
Yeah,
as they grow older.
yeah. I mean, I went and watched my old high school play in the regional championship, and I ran into two kids that I coached last summer, and sat down with them, and I was like, "Hey, like, it's nice to like have that mentor like mentality to the point where you look at them and try and give them some advice. They're always gonna take it and like have an open ear to it. Like it's a really like satisfying feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
But
You're giving something of worth to the next generation.
exactly, and
And you never know what you might say might stick with that kid for the rest of their life.
mm-hmm. And that's the whole reason like I want to coach, why I want to instruct kids, because I want to have the chance to do things that like my coaches or instructors like never did, which was like teach me how mentally tough, like instead of just saying that like you need to be mentally tough, like that's like telling a fucking dog to drink water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's no constructiveness behind it. I want to give them ways that they can work on their like mental like mindset while they're in a game. I want to provide ways that they can like work on it in practice, work on it while I'm instructing them or whatever it may be. But you know, make it to where parents just become less and less of the game that they're playing.
Yeah.
But
So, with that said, did you have any like really bad experiences with your parents, or it doesn't have to be you, like a teammate besides like the one you coached?
I've had a couple happen. Let's see. One of them was like my personal one. Uh, we were playing in a tournament. And it was like 3 hours away from home, and like I had a really shitty game. I went 0 for 3, which
That's the reason I hate road trip games.
yeah, like
If you lose,
that trip back is just terrible. But I went 0 for 3, which was really rare for me because yeah. I went 0 for 3, really rare for me. I made an error in the field, and I was already pissed off at myself, like obviously, because my senior year of high school I went on a 22 game hit streak. So going 0 for was rare. Like it didn't happen that much. And I also made an error, which was also rare of me. And so I'm pissed off. Next thing I know, I'm getting in the car and we're driving back home. And for probably 2.5 hours of that 3 hour trip, I'm just getting like, not like yelled at, but it's like constantly like nagged at about how what I did was like, or the mistakes that I made and everything like that. And I'm just like, God, shut up. But no, I've seen some teammates that have some pretty bad, like, I've seen kids get smacked across the face. I've seen
I've never
parents.
seen that.
Yeah, it's bad. There's that's what I mean by like how like common the topic is, but like how it's overlooked very easily because people just, oh yeah, like overinvested parents, blah blah blah, and then that's about it. But nobody ever goes in depth to it. Like kids are literally just, there are so many athletes out there that are ruined because of their parents that it's actually outrageous.
So with like the whole like, did you ever watch The Last Dance?
The Last Dance, like the show, or
The Jordan documentary.
no? Oh yeah. Never mind. Yeah.
Um, so do you think that kind of mindset has to be self-inflicted? Because if it's externally inflicted, then you just resent whoever's doing that to
Which
you.
mindset? Because he had a lot.
Just like the like outwork everyone, like being that hard and realistic on yourself. Like if he messed up one thing in a game, he'd practice that thing 1,000 times
Oh,
so it would
without a
never
doubt.
happen again.
That's how every great athlete is, and
But do
why?
you think that can be given to someone externally? To a degree. Obviously not like fully. Like if they don't have it at all, you can't just make them do it. But
Yes, but it's because of the way we all like view our parents. Like they literally are raising us, so we're always gonna
for
try
that
and
to not
take.
be apparent.
Yeah. So like, that's kind of like the soft spot, the easy way in, and like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean. So it's very easy for that to just be heard and constantly, and it's just it wears on you, and that's why, like I said, kids are literally getting like slapped across the face. I've seen one of my ex teammates, his dad literally broke our second place trophy in front of him. Yeah, it, I've seen some shit. it's it's bad.
I'm trying to think of what the craziest thing I've witnessed. I don't think I've had any parent thing.
But like I don't know, like
Oh,
it was really like hard to like try and like separate it just to the point where I would be able to play without thinking about that constantly. Like, oh, what's like, what's gonna get like said to me after the game if I do this or this and this.
that never happened to me. I never worried about what they would say afterwards. Like it was very hard to get my mind out of the game. The only thing that got me like mentally out of the game was when my if my dad was getting yelled at by the refs because it was embarrassing because everyone knew it was my dad.
Hmm.
That was the only thing that mentally took me out.
Yeah.
Or if I guess or if new family members showed up, but that's just like anxiety of like you want to perform well, so they don't think you're awful.
Hmm. Type of thing that I wish I had, and I feel like a lot of parents need to be like this. Is it's like past like 13 to where like fundamentals start becoming more complex to like
Yeah.
the game in any sport, you know, soccer, baseball, everything. Like past the age of 13, after the kid's done playing like their match or whatever it may be, if they don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Like don't bring it up to them. It's like Jack Leiter, the pitcher for Vanderbilt, just got drafted by the Texas Rangers in the first round. His dad was also a pro, but it's like when Jack got to college, his dad would like call him and he like say like Jack pitched that night and he called him after. He would be like, "Hey, you want to talk about the game?" Nah, not tonight. And then that would be that. they'd move on, talk about
I
something
think
else.
his dad understood because he's probably been there.
Definitely for sure.
Not probably, he was there. But
But that's something that a lot of parents can take note of. Like, oh, like, especially if they see that and like they know that they had a bad game, like, why harp on them about it? Like, they know they messed up. They know they made errors.
Mhm.
Like, there's no reason in like putting the knife in and twisting it more.
Yeah, don't kick them while they're down.
Exactly. But it, it's I forget his TikTok, but he just talks about like over-invested parents in general, not even in sports. He's a kicker in the Canadian Football League. I think it's like Billy Vesco or something like that. Like Billy VSCO. I think that might be
Mhm.
his TikTok. And his like punchline is whenever he gets done explaining a certain situation and like how parents should like take it in a different way, he'll beat on his chest and be like, "Do better."
Yeah, I don't think parents understand how much weight what they have says, even if it's not like,
Meant to hurt, like,
yeah,
cause like even just the tone of voice and the way you say things can be taken differently, especially when you're in a bad mood after you've done bad or whatever.
I also think it can be um the constant like good game too. Like if it's obvious they didn't have a good game, I hated when people said I had a good game.
Yeah, that's
Like
also
the
true. That would piss
like
me off a
fake,
lot.
yeah. I'll be honest, I didn't have that many bad games, but
Like
like,
like my senior year, it's like I went 2 for 3 and I pitched that night, and I think I threw 4 innings scoreless, and I had to pitch like 3 days later, so they took me out. We ended up losing by 2, and we come back home and like uh girlfriend's parents and her just waiting there because they wanted to talk to me after we got off the bus, and she was like, "But you had a good game." I'm like, "Yeah, but we lost." Like, I don't care if I had a good game, we lost. Like, there's I don't want to talk about the good things. I want to talk about what we did wrong and how we can improve so we don't lose.
yeah,
Like, I don't want to be told I had a good game when it's a team sport, you know what I mean?
I gave up on team sports.
Not
So
exactly, you played COD.
I know it was a mistake. No, I'm kidding, it wasn't, but
Yeah,
I
like
probably
I
should have gone down MMA.
yeah,
Just
like
all
how
me.
knocked your ass out at Minnesota.
I know. Still have PTSD from it. My whole life would be different right now if I didn't choke the optic.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason.
Yep. I mean, I feel like I've gone through the stuff that I've gone through for the reason that I want to instruct kids. I want to make a positive impact that my instructors had on me. You know what I
Is
mean?
that your dream job? You want to be a baseball coach?
Not necessarily a baseball coach, but definitely like an instructor slash mentor.
So what would you want to like? What age group would be like ideal situation?
16s or 17s, more than likely getting ready to go into college.
Okay. Is
Because
there
like,
decent money in that?
mm, not
Like, could you
necessarily.
could you make a living?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I could, but it's like 16 to 17 would be like my goal as of now. Once I started doing 16s and 17s, if I got to the point where I can start instructing and like mentoring kids that are going to get drafted, oh hell yeah, I'll do that all day. Like, because there are a lot of kids that like just don't have the information about mindsets and like how to approach things.
That's my biggest thing is like I want to establish like because I don't know about you, my coaches never really talked about mindset. Like
Uh,
mindset of an individual. They talked about it as a team, but it was never like bro, if I had David Goggins come talk to me when I was like 11,
mm,
I know he wasn't around then. Well, he was, but like he wasn't a speaker then. I think my whole life would be different. Or I'd be like, this guy's dumb. I can't comprehend this. I'm 11 years old. It would be like either or.
yeah. My travel coaches always like emphasized our individual like mindsets, just because we're kind of there to get exposure to like college coaches.
Mm.
So that's the number one thing that coaches look for is like the mental toughness in a player. Because let's say,
Basketball's not really.
it kind of
It's more
is.
like that now with like the romanticization of like Jordan and Kobe, like that killer instinct, like, but it's not that heavy as like AAU unless you're like already that good.
Yeah, I mean, you can
Like
kind
if
of
you're
look
at a
at it.
higher level. So I was
Yeah,
like middle class.
you can look at that and like it's just a different mindset for each player because like the guy that's the starting point guard is going to have a different mindset than the guy that's like the seven man
Both man,
coming off the
yeah.
bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a role and like a mindset that comes with being that role player. Because like you go in and do your job, coach is gonna pat you on the back all day because that helps you win games.
And
And
that's something I think, especially with the younger generation, like before like high school, is like everyone wants to be the star player, but
hmm
people can't realize that everyone can be. Like it just physically doesn't work that way.
yeah,
And I feel like it's harder for younger kids to buy into your role if
see,
you
I
just want
think
to be the guy. That was something I always struggled with because some of
yeah,
my teams I wasn't the most talented, but and then other teams I was. So if I wasn't that guy, it like as a little kid, it kind of fucked with me.
yeah. That's one thing that a lot of kids like don't. Well, some of them do. Like if you go to an SEC school, you're obviously like gonna see that you aren't gonna be the best one on the team any longer.
Yeah.
But a lot of the kids get reality checks when like they come out to that first day of practice and dudes are throwing harder than they are. Because majority of the time, the kids that are going to play college ball, they were the best ones in their high school team.
Yeah. And the kids that goes pros were the best ones on their college team. Like it's
hmm
always like a constant ladder.
And this kind of little tangent, but you said something that triggered it about like the teamwork and like the role play and stuff like that. I recently NCAA players are allowed to sign partnerships to make money
So
now.
they can advertise their likeness.
Yeah, and I think that is
Some dude already made seven figures.
yeah, like it is a great thing. There are a lot of kids that come from absolutely nothing to play college ball because that's the only way that they can get to pros. They have to play that 1 year and then bang, they're in the draft. And no more sleeping. Who was it that played at Tennessee? He's a motivational speaker now, but he lost his pretty much all mobility in his left
Inky
arm.
Johnson.
Inky Johnson, yes. He said you didn't have to sleep in a 2-bedroom house, 14 people. He's like,
That'd be rough. Wow.
yeah, he's like, I literally came from nothing. And that's how a lot of like just in reality college players are. They
And I
absolutely come
think
from nothing.
and I think it'll be better for like the athletes as a whole, not just like the Zions or like the pinnacle,
Yeah.
because those guys are already going to make their money
hmm
as long as they don't get super injured. I think it's good for like
And
the lower end guys that like can get like 100K Instagram followers and make six figures the rest of their life,
hmm
even
and
if they don't go pro.
I think that's kind of where I don't know. It's tough to say. Like that's kind of where I love that they're getting paid now. Like I think they totally should be. But as far
There are
as
people that don't.
a team aspect of the game, I think paying them is going to take away from that.
Yeah, because the income will be so skewed.
Yes. And I
You'll
think
have people making millions, people making like 20K.
yeah, that's going to put like a different that's going to put like a ladder in people's eyes and like even if they are starting, like they're going to be like,
Isn't it
"Oh,
already that way?
as
In
like
the pro
what?"
level at least?
Yeah, that's why I don't watch
You have,
any professionals. I
you
think
have
they
like
don't
LeBron making
try.
50 mil, and then you have the guy on the bench making like 1.2
Yeah.
after taxes. He's not even making a mil.
hmm Like I can't like so take it how you want it. I don't like watching football. I can't stand to watch basketball. I can stand to watch a few like pro teams in baseball. Like I can watch the Blue Jays, the Rangers, let's see, White Sox, and
I don't know how you watch baseball, period, but that's just me.
there's one more. I like watching both LA teams just because there's so much talent, but I feel like a lot
Dodgers and who? What's the team name of the other team?
Padres.
didn't know that. I thought those are San Diego Padres.
Yeah, San Diego Padres.
Oh,
But I feel like a lot of professional players just get that check and like they stop working as hard. And
well, it's like that whole Conor McGregor thing. Can you be champion if you already have 100 mil in the bank?
hmm
Obviously, the answer is yes because there's like Floyd,
yeah, like
but like
I mean, Connor went and got 2 belts and then got 100 million. So
then hasn't been the same since.
yeah,
It's
but
like that saying, it's hard to wake up at 5 a.m. when you're asleep in silk sheets.
but it's I don't know. That's why I loved watching college sports. That's why I loved watching college baseball because, dude, that team. I would go back today, not just to play, but to literally have the team atmosphere and like the bonding that we had. Literally, it's a brotherhood in college baseball, and like if you witnessed it when if any of you out there watched Mississippi State win their first title after like 13 missed attempts before. It that's like that's literally like record books and history books. And because they had 13 missed attempts at winning a national championship, those guys that were on that team for 4 years and through COVID, that's like that is absurd to think about the amount of like dedication those kids had and the amount of like relationships with between the players. Like that bond will always that'll like be inseparable the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's just like the combat veterans like when they go to war together.
hmm
They're like you can have your best friends in civilization, but like it's never the same when you go through hell with someone.
Yeah.
And obviously, sports is not anything compared to like going to war, but it's like a lesser degree version,
No, I get what you're saying. It goes to the brotherhood thing. Yeah.
like overcoming adversity together.
hmm
I feel like that's why me, you, well, we never teamed with Ricky, but like me, you, Jake, like we can not talk for like 6 months, but we talk to each other for 10 hours a day
Yeah.
for a year and a half. Like,
I mean, we grinded the hell out of that game, bro.
yeah. So,
It's just, but I think that's the only reason that like I kind of disagree with like players getting players getting paid. Just, I think we're gonna miss that brotherhood type thing and the passion that college players had. I feel like that's gonna be taken away over time. Like maybe not immediately, like maybe not next year, maybe not the year after that, but like
like a
eventually,
decade from now.
yeah, like down the line it will be, because eventually, just like how all professional sports are, it's gonna eventually come down to marketing and the money, just like it always does.
And teams will, I mean, not teams, players will go to bigger colleges because you get on TV more,
Yeah.
bigger opportunity to get advertised more.
hmm Everybody's gonna want to go to the big school, the big
Yeah.
name. Yeah. That's
But
that.
it's good
I
for the
mean,
people who never go pro.
that's about the only con that I can think of, and it's. But yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
like it's helping the little guy out even more. Like especially now that like even Barstool's in on it. Like
Yeah.
like who have they signed already?
I just want to see like how much is like Amani Bates gonna make. I don't know if you know who that is. He's like people think he's like the best prospect, best high school prospect since like Zion and LeBron. Like I'm curious to see what he makes in college. I think he graduates next year. So like he's the high school class of 2022.
hmm
But like I'm curious to see what he makes
Um,
in college.
isn't there a kid that signed with Adidas? Is that him?
I don't know. He might have. Can you sign in high school?
Now that they made it eligible, yeah.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't void your eligibility.
hmm
Fair. He might have. I don't know.
So that's gonna.
Like how much would have Lamelo made?
D-
Lamelo Ball.
I mean, he was already making money.
yeah. Oh
Big-
yeah. Well, he didn't even go to NCAA, but like
yeah,
if he
like
could have, he would have made even more.
if this rule would have been enacted, he would have gone to UCLA.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Like he would have done the one and done. But
And then Zion would have cashed out.
yeah, that kid was what, a two-time McDonald's All-American or something.
Yeah.
Just absolute freaking beast. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like college sports are gonna change definitely.
I think it'll change, but I think they won't lose the team atmosphere. I don't know about baseball, but football you can't because that sport is so team dominant. It
Hmm.
doesn't like basketball. I think will lose it just because basketball is already a star-driven sport.
Yeah,
Like if you have the best player, you're probably gonna win.
it was kind of
Baseball is still very team dominant.
it was kind of. Let's see, what year was it that like basketball even started to take like that effect? It was when I was in high school. It was probably like 2015, 2016 that like I started seeing like a change in like the way college basketball was played,
Yeah,
and I don't know. It,
because
it was definitely weird because like the reason I kept playing basketball those years is because I don't know if you remember it, but when Butler made those two amazing runs to the Final Four in 2012,
I don't watch college
and
anything.
I know they lost to Villanova in Connecticut, maybe,
Okay.
but that's what kept. It was when Gordon Hayward was at Butler.
Yeah, I was like 11.
Yeah, but that's what kept pushing me to play basketball those years because those guys played their absolute hearts out,
Yeah.
and that's like super motivating to see, especially as like a young kid, like wanting to like setting goals and setting dreams up for yourself so you can start working hard when you get to high school to like get to where they're at. Like that's super cool cuz like put your it's like what is it? I forget the specific term for it, but um shit.
You're good.
Running through like scenarios through your head. Um
Visualization.
yes. And doing that and like putting yourself in their shoes and like putting like fake pressure on yourself when like you're working out, getting shots up, that's gonna like get you to that point where you can live in those moments and like,
Yeah, you just got to mentally prepare for them so that
hmm
when something occurs, it's not new. You've done it 1,000 times.
yeah, and that's like the greatest thing to see, especially when little kids are watching college, because
Yeah.
that's a very attainable goal for anybody. Like pros, it's kind of like, oh, like we put pros on like this high pedestal now, so kids see college and they're like, oh, that I can do that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's easier to attain, so let's do it.
And if you get a scholarship, 3, 4 year university.
Mm-hmm. Let's go
The worst
pro.
part for me is I never looked at probably it was because my dad pushed it so hard, but I never looked at basketball as like a career.
You
Like
just
I
looked
feel
at it
like
as
if
like a
I
hobby.
feel like yeah, I feel like just talent wise, I for sure could have gone to college. Probably never would have been athletic enough for like the NBA, but I for sure could have gone to college, like maybe D1 or D2, but it was never like one I hated school. So like thinking about going to college, like I didn't even like think about it, even though I'm in college now.
They
But
they make it doable though, like between classes and practice and everything.
and
Like
if you're good enough, you don't have to actually go to school. You just
you get the tutors.
well, you get people to take the test for you
Well, that too.
if you're good enough.
Yeah, but people don't know about that, so we'll keep that under the table.
Yeah.
Like they're super strict about it, and I don't want to talk about it just because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But we had proctored exams when we made it to regionals one year for baseball. I'm not gonna get anybody in trouble, but I'll just say it's not heavily monitored.
Yeah. Well, I had a top five. Yeah, I won't say names either, but I had a top five NBA. I don't even think you could get in trouble now. Who's in the NBA? But we had a top five NBA draft pick. Go to my high school
Hmm.
before I got there, but he was 2 years ahead of me. And then he transferred to go to the school where it's a basketball school, and the school got shut down because they were told not to show up to class.
Oh,
And they had
it's kind of like
yeah,
what was that movie
they're
that
like
came
you
out
should
on?
be practicing right now. You
Yeah,
should not be in class.
that Netflix original movie. What was that? Um,
I think so.
you know which one I'm talking about?
Mm,
What
I
is
do.
it? Only I
Last
remember it.
Chance U?
Huh?
Last Chance U?
No, it's literally about a little 13-year-old kid that skips like eighth grade and goes to like his freshman year of high school and starts playing ball at like the
Oh,
school.
like overseas?
No, at like
Oh,
a
no, I
school
have
in
no idea.
Tennessee that's like recruiting kids to come play basketball.
Mhm.
What is it?
Well, just what's the story?
Basically like his family is struggling for money. They're afraid he's at this really small school. They want him to go to college, obviously, so because they know he has like star talent. And this coach recruits him, and they start giving him money under the table because his family's struggling. But then he also gets in trouble for having to cut class and go to practice and everything else like that, just like you were talking about. But then the coach gets in trouble for handing the kid money under the table to help his family out and pay bills. And that's kind of like the whole
And
gist
that
of it.
happens. Zion got in trouble for that. He
Yeah.
got sued for taking money at Duke. It's like one of those things that like everyone knew it was happening, but it was like just don't get
It
caught red-handed.
it happened.
Like,
Like it's such a common thing. That's why like the money thing is so good. Like I kind of like what I talked about earlier, just the
yeah,
kids that come from nothing. Like it literally saves them and their families like well-being.
yeah. Which also allow them to play better.
Mhm.
They're less stressed about
Stuff
family's
back at
well-being.
home. Yep.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically in the movie he walks up to his coach's house and his coach is like mowing the grass or something. And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here, man?" Like and he sits in they sit down on the front porch of the house and they're talking. He's like, "The whole reason I'm doing this is because I want to be able to help kids out like you." He goes, "I never did it to like get kids to come play for me." He goes, "I did it to help kids out.
Give them the opportunity.
Yeah, give them a way out of like getting involved with like gangs or whatever it might be if like they live in like poverty-stricken areas."
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's sad that like it comes to that, but rules are rules sometimes. And I wish I could remember the name of that movie. That's gonna piss me off. But
When
uh,
people wonder why like most professional athletes come from poverty, it's like that desperation just breeds you to work harder.
mm-hmm.
So that's why you don't see a lot of professional athletes come from like middle class families.
Yeah,
Is if you don't have like, because like with LeBron and his mom, it was literally like if he didn't make it pro, he would be dirt poor his whole life. Probably not alive, to be honest.
yeah.
And then so yeah, like if you have that kind of like ultimatum, you only have one option. So
I don't know much about Kobe's background. Where did he come from?
he came from a little bit not like money, but he grew up overseas. That's why Kobe speaks like five languages. He
Really?
grew up in like Italy, but he was bullied for being American in Italy. And then he was like, "All right, fuck y'all, I'm gonna beat you on the basketball court." And then
Yeah, I
like,
never.
he wasn't like broke.
Gotcha.
I don't think at least.
I never like the guy's a legend, obviously, but I don't know much about like his backstory. Then
I don't know what Jordan grew up like as a kid.
they kind of touched on that in the Last Dance.
I didn't finish The Last Dance.
He like kind of like Kobe. They weren't absolutely dirt poor, like, but they didn't have money, obviously.
Yeah,
But Jordan also grew up in a different time period.
yeah.
I still remember the. I'm not sure if it's like actually true, but in the first Space Jam, when he's like he's out, he gets caught shooting baskets at like 10 o'clock at night, and his dad's like, "Why aren't you in bed?" He's like, "Just five more, Pop, five more."
Yeah, just got to get it in.
Yep.
See, that's just, I wish that was like innate in me. Cause like no
Like
one told him to be that way. Like he was just like, it's in my
that
DNA.
constant drive.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
have a good work ethic, but it's obviously not like Jordan's was.
hmm
So
That's like
it's also like,
we've talked about like mentality and everything a lot on the podcast, but like, and how, just like I've said multiple times, like they'd rather die than lose. Like there's also a different mentality when it comes to having to work to get to that point.
Yeah. And especially when the work is so linear. Like he knew what he had to do. It's not like when you like start a business or something where you don't like
You don't know what
know
the
all the
next step is.
variables. Like, um, but that's also one thing. I was talking to one of my coworkers today at work,
Hmm.
where it's like she was talking about like I'm not gonna say any names. There's just a dude she's like talking to that has like no drive or work ethic to like better his life,
Yeah.
and he's like in his late 20s, and it's like, yeah, that sucks, but is that sometimes better than always trying to want more? Because like if you always want more, you can never like truly be happy or like content. But if you don't really want anything, I feel like you have the opportunity to be happier as long as you're not like in poverty.
Yeah, you're saying like that you're just content with being
Yeah,
average, I guess you could say.
yeah. And I told her I was like sometimes like because I want a lot, like I have very grandiose like goals.
Yeah, it's not
I don't feel like
necessarily
I'll ever
wanting
be
you
happy if I
just
don't reach them.
yeah, it's not
But
necessarily wanting, it's you want to strive for greatness. That's exactly what it is.
yeah, but I was like part of me is kind of jealous of people that don't want that. In like the aspect where like I feel like you'd be a lot happier a lot quicker if that was you just had like a basic goal, like if you just wanted to be like a cop or like a
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that, like at all. But like if you could be have your dream job at like 18.
No, yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. It's like all these people that settle down by the time they're like 20, 22 and have kids.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's obviously not me. I'm 22, and so
Old man.
yeah, whatever. 21.
I know I'm old. I don't like it.
Yeah, we're old ass men. I met you when you were 18. That's what's crazy.
I know. Now I'm older than everybody.
But that's something that you just can't beat enough into a kid's head is like the constant, like having goals to like attain. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Just so there's nothing, like you said, there's nothing wrong with, finding your dream job by the time you're 18. Like there's not absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there's people that, like you and I, that just aren't bound for that. We want more. Like we don't want to settle for things that are common.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how am I gonna word this? That doesn't sound like we're trying to be arrogant and
I
say
don't
like
think either way is better than the other.
yeah, like I'm not trying to say that what we're trying to do is gonna make us better than the guy that comes and like fixes my heating and air. I'm not trying to say that at all. Like,
Like I genuinely wish I could be content with where I am now
yeah,
because I make enough money. I don't have to check my account when I want to buy something. I can just buy something.
hmm,
I pay all my bills. I always have extra money left over. I can go out every night. Like part of me wishes that like I could just be happy in this moment, but I can't be. Like I physically just can't.
it's like you've told me you want to be stupid rich.
Yeah. Like I want fuck you money. I want to be richer than Connor. Well, like he bought a Lamborghini yacht, bro. And I'm not
A
materialistic. Like I
Lamborghini
probably
yacht.
yes. Like you know how many few people drive Lamborghinis? And you know how about even fewer of them drive
Have a
them on the
yacht?
sea? Like I want a Lamborghini
Even the amount of
yacht.
people that have yachts, a Lamborghini yacht.
Like I saw Jeff Bezos's yacht too, bro. Pool's bigger
Oh,
than
with
Rhode
that with
Island.
the helicopter pad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. Oh, we got to start sitting down and talking about conspiracies and shit, dude.
Oh no, you're a weirdo when it comes to that. Morty won't watch The Conjuring with me because he's afraid of ghosts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's what he's doing this
I
weekend
still
when he
run up the
comes.
stairs looking over my shoulder fighting my demons.
Like he's afraid of like paranormal stuff. Like Saw, bro, just fucks with me. Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Why see that shit doesn't scare me
pisses me off.
because I don't know. To me, because that's more real than like
That's why it scares me because I don't believe in ghosts. So I'm like, okay, I'm chilling. Like this is not real. A 6'10" dude who can pin you up against the wall and cut you open with a chainsaw could happen. Apthor Bjornson's out there, the mountain. Like, it could happen. That's more scary than. That's scarier, not more scary.
We'll have to make an episode about talking conspiracies. It won't be health and fitness related at all.
Yeah, a little bonus one. Maybe that should be one of the live ones. So
What? Just
seeing you scared.
no. Fuck you. What?
But hey. So leave in the comments down below if you think it's scarier for like Texas Chainsaw's not scary, but like a real killer versus like Conjuring, like paranormal stuff.
Definitely Conjuring.
I guarantee you I'll win.
No.
Like I went to bed last Saturday and my friend spent the night with the Conjuring on. I literally put it on for background noise and went to sleep.
You're fucked. You're fucked in the head.
Like
It's the
he was already
uncertainty.
asleep. I just had the Conjuring on. I was like, all right, let's go to bed.
It's the uncertainty that like comes with like paranormal. Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is real. Like can be real. And like
Yeah, if my car breaks down in Texas, I'm
I can cope with that, but I can't cope with thinking that somebody's fucking 5 feet behind me and I can't see them.
I got a cross on. I'm chilling.
Yeah. That don't help, son.
And I got holy water in my apartment. I'm booling.
But
if a guy breaks in that's physically stronger than me with a chainsaw, I'm just shiggity chalked.
something that popped in my head while we were sitting here talking, because I was talking about it with my stepmom last week. It was what you mentioned to me about like Marcus Aurelius and like his whole, I forget the specific terminology you used.
Philosophy?
Uh-uh.
What's the context of Marcus Aurelius is my dude. I'm gonna get him tatted on my arm. But
The whole like his whole like shit, man.
Stoicism?
Yes, Stoicism.
Yeah, Stoicism is a philosophy that Marcus Aurelius took in.
That popped in my head, and like I did a little research on it, but you want to like cover about pretty much like sum it up, like
summing it up's hard.
Give it 3 bullet points. Come on.
It's just about being indifferent to situations that arise. Like you control the only thing you control in this world is how you react to the world around you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is not a variable you can control. So if Morty starts cussing at me and just pissing me off, if I don't react or if I don't get pissed off, it doesn't matter. Because whatever he says is irrelevant. I can be indifferent to as long as it doesn't affect, as long as my perception of it isn't altered.
Yeah.
So it's just about like living your life in a way that will ground you and that will keep you stoic, like indifferent. Like when someone say like statues are very like stoic or like just anything that's indifferent to the world around them, pretty much. But when we eventually have Chris on, he's prepping for a show, so he's really busy. So I know I said he'd be on this episode. Like some things fell through, but Chris will eventually be on, and that's when we'll do the deep dive into like Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius's like meditations, and then Amor Fati and stuff like that. Like Amor Fati is like, whatever happens to you is fated. So it's all about your perception. Like you can take the good out of everything. You can take the good out of breaking a leg.
See,
like,
this
you break a
I
leg
kind of
playing sports. You can get better at
yeah,
your body. Like
I kind of tied like, so when I was researching it, something that I was familiar with like before and that just like popped up that was really similar when listening to everything and like reading was Murphy's Law. I don't know if you know what that is. It's anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah.
And I always saw it as that until I watched the movie Interstellar, when like he said
best movie ever made. Well, behind one movie, but continue.
But it's like when he tells his daughter Murph, he's like, "No, we named you after Murphy's Law because it means that anything that can happen will happen. Not anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And it's accepting that the fact that any possibility that occurs in your life it can happen at any given time. And like preparing yourself for that, it just makes everything easier, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of like an easy way that I related to it, and like how it can easily be implemented into your life.
Yeah. My thing with Stoicism is before I like really started studying it, I didn't know about how many things I already took. That's why I relate to it so much, is like some of the things I just already did.
Yeah, that's what I was realizing too.
Like, yeah. So that's where it resonated with me was like one big thing is like, well, I'm not gonna name any names, but someone in that I'm close with that I grew up with, like lets their emotions control them. And with studying Stoicism, I realized I subconsciously never really wanted my emotions to control me.
Hmm.
That's why like I've gotten in trouble in past relationships with girls where it seems like I don't care because I won't get mad, because I won't let myself get mad. It takes a lot to get me mad because I don't want to like say something with that like anger. So like when I get mad, I kind of just don't talk
Yeah, that's
because
how
I just
I.
want to be in constant control of my emotions, so I never say something that will come
Yeah,
back to bite me in the end.
that's how that. I mean, you experienced that one. Like we would play COD. I was like, you would take like my heavy criticism after maps that we like played badly, and like I'm yelling and shit because like I want us to be good, but I always told you guys if I'm actually pissed off, I won't talk,
Yeah.
literally, and that's true. I will literally just sit quiet as fuck. You can hear a pin drop in the room, like I just I don't know. I just get a I become very lost in thought when I get pissed off, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So that's gonna be this week's episode. Um, we will be recording another one this week just so we get them backlogged in case we can't record a live one. But hopefully we're gonna try our best to get a live one. What time do you fly out Sunday?
Sunday? I'm leaving Monday morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll do one Sunday night.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right.
But
As long as we can get the logistics set up. So no
yeah,
promises. But
we'll definitely try. I mean,
yeah, we might buy some mics and return them real quick after now.
that Best Buy rebate, son.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.